Thank you so very much for joining me today during this article. This is from the Daily Advertiser. In videos posted before his death, Lafayette Sheriff Deputy called for police reform. This was on February the 5th. This is from the Lafayette Daily Advertiser. The author is Ashley White, and I'm going to do just as Ashley has done, and I am going to give out a number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline for support at 1-800-273-8255. And again, that is 1-800-273-8255. And also, I would like to extend my ear as well. If you don't feel like calling that, or if you have called it before and it may not have been helpful for you at the moment, I am free for an ear. If you would like to vent, if you would like to talk, I am here and open for anyone that needs that kind of therapy or, time to talk. You may not want to talk to friends because it's probably about your friends, or you may not want to talk to family because it may be about your family. So this is a good way to do it. I don't know you, you don't know me. I'm a good ear. I can be more than happy to listen to your issues. All right, but for right now, we're going to continue with this article. Clyde Kerr III would have given the shirt off of his back to anyone who needed it, or he would have stopped what he was doing to lend a hand, his friend Jermaine Salmon said. Kerr always had a plan, was on time, and always had something positive to say. The son of renowned jazz musician Clyde Kerr II, Kerr grew up in New Orleans and had attended at the all-boys St. Augustine High School. He moved to Lafayette to attend the University of Louisiana, where he studied criminal justice before joining the Army when he was 25. He lived to serve others. When Kerr and Solomon were deployed in Iraq, they had a day off. Kerr had taught a big game about his cooking skills. He was methodical when he cooked, perfecting recipes and sharing his food with others. In his later years, he aspired to open a food truck one day. Kerr, another person, went to dining facilities and grabbed burgers, ribs, and any other meat they could find. He then spent the day barbecuing for about 200 people. It was supposed to be his day off, and he just grills for everybody, Salmon says. He put his money where his mouth is. Kerr died by suicide in his Lafayette Parish Sheriff's Office patrol car on Monday outside the sheriff's office. His death caught Salmon off guard, who learned about it from Facebook group that filled with people who served in their unit. This is my protest. Salmon saw Kerr in June while passing through on a car trip from Florida to Arizona. They went to a sports bar, caught up and joked. The father of two boys, known by close friends as Rudy, loved to laugh and was witty. He and another friend talked about making the trip to Florida to visit Salmon. Kerr had also told Salmon he was thinking about leaving the sheriff's office, where he had been employed since 2015. He was concerned about the protests sparked after the police killings of black people. Kerr told Salmon he would change out of his uniform after work to avoid dirty looks from strangers. He talked about how difficult it was to be a black law enforcement officer. I gotta put that on hold. I'm gonna pause this, and I want to speak on that because I'm gonna forget it if I don't. To me, white supremacy has the law enforcement on lock when it comes to white officers. But I think that black officers are the better of police officers. I honestly do. And here's why. I think that they are better police officers because they come in, most of them. Now, we're not going to play this game. I'm not saying that all black police officers have hearts of gold, but I can guarantee you that most of them do. We just have a problem and not saying anything, stepping forward and coming into our truth about what's going on around us and what we're doing with our coworkers and what we're allowing to go on. That's the issue. So that's why I say that black officers and black people in these high places, if they're not cooning, most of them are in there to really legitimately make a difference. I have noticed that they come from more of a space of understanding. Like in this article about this officer, he would get his shirt off his back. He served in the military, and I'm pretty sure that most officers, black officers, have this kind of mindset that they want to change the world, that they can change the world if they just become a part of the ranks and do what they need to do. But unfortunately, there is another layer to this that they're not picking up on. Not until later, not until they get deep into the game. They're starting to notice that everybody doesn't get treated the same. I would say that would be the first thing they would notice. Everybody's not getting treated the same. They notice that jokes can get told and it'd be real funny to certain people. But in this circle, in this code of blue, there's a whole nother tier of hilarity. And some of it has to do with the murdering and the locking up of black people. And as a black officer, I would have a problem with that. Because as a black officer, you know that there are multiple facets of people, of black people, especially black people. You know that there are multiple facets of black people. And you understand that there are some good white people and there are some good black people. There are some good Asian people. There are some good Latino people. And the same with the opposite. But you start to notice that people, no matter how good they are, no matter small the crime, petty the crime, they get treated the most, they get treated the worst. While some other people can do the most crimes, can have a criminal rap sheet as long as they're armed and still get patted on the back. They don't get punished like they should. You got to keep arresting these people over and over and over and over again just to see them back out on the street. And you notice that there's a difference. You see the difference. You see the difference in the behaviors of your partners when they deal with the public. I can understand that most of you say that your job is hard, and I get it. Yeah, it is hard. But some of it's self-inflicted. And that's what we're not setting our accountability for. Some of it is self-inflicted. Some of it is things that could have been avoided. just by calming down and understanding the situation, listening to the people instead of just assuming just because you got a badge. It's about talking to the people. We're going to continue. But Kerr loved his work, and as a school resource officer and the children he felt he could positively impact, he would have done anything to protect those students, who he called his kids, and often would go out of his way to help any child he saw struggling. The morning of his death, the 43-year-old posted 3 videos to YouTube. 2 of the videos appeared to have been removed. In them, he said that they were filmed in the days leading up to Monday. Kerr said, "Only life matters," but he felt for a week that this was something he had to do, and it has to be dramatic and bold. The heaviness of being a black deputy who supported law enforcement but decried police brutality wore on him. "This is my protest against police brutality and everything that comes along with it, in this broken, wickedly worldly system that does not give a damn about people," he said in one of the videos. "All this code of blue silence? No, I'm going to be on the right side of this one." Gotta stop it again. I understand and I applaud his recognition of police brutality, because him being a police officer will make it hard for his culture, especially if he's pointing this stuff out, if he's saying that, hey, there's a problem. And I get it to a point. He understood that this system is broken, and as he said, wickedly worldly system. He understood that. He was a cop that understood that there was something wrong. He understood there was a problem. He understood that he was part of the problem. He also understood the silence that most, if not all, cops do with each other, and how they punish and hold each other accountable. This is a big difference. But as far as taking your life as a symbol of just to be a martyr because of, I would say, is a big detriment. He may not have seen that he could have done more, but I could have seen he could have done more, especially with the rank and the people that he already knew and dealt with. It could have been a lot that he could have done, and I don't want to go into that right now. I think that this was not the best way to do it. You could have been a symbol, but we would have preferred for you to be here and be a symbol and not be gone. He sounded like a really good man. He really did. I wouldn't want an officer or anyone that holds this kind of feeling and understanding to ever feel that taking their life is going to help something. Let's continue. He sits in a tan jacket with a green shirt poking out underneath. He mentions George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Trayford Perlin's death. All three were killed by police, and their deaths sparked protests or calls for police reform and accountability. Let's stop here again. Police reform and accountability. Unfortunately, is not the answer. There is no amount of training that can get the way these people feel about the black community. There is no amount of money that could change their mind. There's no amount of jobs that they can lose and just find somewhere else that they're going to care about black people. Unfortunately, this issue starts from the home. And I'm not talking about with their current wife and their kids. I'm talking about their parents. I'm talking about their grandparents and the people before them that hold true, that sat around their tables, joked with their friends on their porches, sat in diners and talked about. Your children was listening and it shows. Your children heard you and it shows. You all talk about reform and accountability, but you don't mean any of that. You never did. That was just pretty words to tie together to get people to be quiet while you still carried on the same system. There is no training to common sense. If you don't naturally have common sense to be decent to the next person, whether they look like you or not, it is beyond me. And you should not be in control just because of that reason. Just because of that reason, you should not be in control of anything. Just because it's so easy to fool you and convincing you that it is right to hang people, to rape people, to steal land. That's what that shows. You have no right to be a leader of anything. So this reform and accountability business that's not going to work. It's just words you're just throwing together just to calm people down. But we all know at the end of the day, we are still a problem to you. We are still a threat to you. I continue. If this feels right to you as a person, then something is wrong with you. This is the furthest thing from right, Kerr said. When is enough going to be enough for people? In one of the videos, Kerr lays out what he hopes to change with law enforcement. He says there needs to be a civilian oversight advisory committee and that its members need to have term limits and go through training that helps them understand what law enforcement faces. He calls for standardized training for officers to be trained on state statutes. Kerr recommends anonymous peer evaluations for officers. He also says there needs to be more transparency. The public doesn't trust us. We're losing the public's trust, he said. You lose that and you lose your right and your authority to govern. Let's stop there again and I'm going to finish with it because it's about mental health and um, the reason why he felt like he had to do it was basically because he didn't feel like he didn't have a voice or he had enough power to really say anything and anything happened. So he felt that the need to take his life was a big red flag, and it was definitely caught my eye, and it caught a whole lot of other people's eyes as well, especially people that knew him and knew what kind of man he was. Again, unfortunately, we will not be able to train this. It is not going to happen. You're going to need whole new officers. You're going to need you need to start fresh, unfortunately. And if not, figure out a different way to do it. But this cannot continue. This is one of our strongholds of white supremacy, which is our law enforcement. And please don't think that that doesn't go off into our judicial system and our military. Speaking the truth because that's what I can do. And again, if you ever feel the need to take your life or to hurt someone, like I said, this is something that definitely has to be addressed. And for our black officers, taking your life is definitely not it. But I do understand the energy. I understand the reasoning. But it's definitely not necessary. We need you here. You already have details and outlines of what's going on in there. You already have the knowledge. Use it. And again, if anyone would like to talk or anything, just message me down in the comment section or email me. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. Have a good day.